Good evening. Good evening. How are you guys doing today? I haven't talked to you guys in a while. I hope y'all enjoy the holidays and the new year. Um, Everything's kind of been going on. This is a video I wanted to do. Still on strike, but I do have some good news. Better opportunity has come up, and I'm going to take that. So I will get back to doing the PlayStation 5 giveaway, and you have to be a subscribed member to my channel. And we're going to be giving away a PlayStation either in March or April. Other than that, a lot's really been going on since I've done my last video. Today's video is talking about mainly Jackson State Division I football and Division I AA, and what Deion Sanders means by leveling the playing field. Now, in saying that, they pulled Travis Hunter on early signing day. A lot of people were in disbelief. People were angry, burning jerseys. Crazy. I do want to say this right here. I am a big collector of memorabilia, movies, Legos, wrestling, just collector's items in general, toys, jerseys. You can see behind me, you can't hardly see, but that's Peter Ward behind me. I'm not going to get into that. But I took a trip back in 2018 when Florida State traveled to Notre Dame. And to today, that's the most expensive game I ever been to. I flew first class from Birmingham to Atlanta, then Atlanta to South Bend, and I never thought I'd actually see an airport that's in worse of shape or just the size and the energy as Birmingham. Our airport literally looks the same as when it was first built. Very little upgrade, very little modernization. But you go to South Bend's airport, if you walking and looking down at your phone, you'll be out the door like it's that quick. It's very small. But when I got there, I met a guy. I think he was in school, and we exchanged information, and he took me everywhere I need to go. Now, mind you, when this game was going on, it was I think 18 degrees at kickoff, and cold. So I got up Saturday, and I went to the mall. I went to Dick's first and bought some tights, and I went to the mall, and I bought my son a game. He still plays it now, Forza Horizon 4 at the time. So they had a couple of stores. I went in there, and they had a merchandise store and memorabilia and stuff. So went in there. First off, you can see that is Sean Taylor. Grab that out of there. And these right here are Sean Taylor rookie cards. Rookie cards. All that Sean Taylor. So I grabbed that out of there. Now, they had a lot of cards in there. They had different prices, some $5, some, let me sit up a little bit. So, went in there to that store, and of course, Ray Lewis with an actual piece of his jersey, that's $5. Jameis Winston, a piece of his jersey. Michael Jordan, only way I buy a Mike card is you gotta have the good shoes on it, but that's a Mike card, if you can see that. And then I grabbed another Mike, and they had like different prices on these. So Ken Griffey Jr.'s rookie card, another Ken Griffey Jr., Aaron Judd, Derek Jeter's rookie card, the Intimidator, HBCU legend, one of the greatest football players of all time, Jerry Rice. Grabbed him. Eric Dickerson, gotta have him. I like Marshawn Lynch, the way he plays and the passion, so I grabbed him. Like I said, it just had different prices. Junior Seau's rookie card. Walter Payton, HBCU legend. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Lawrence Taylor. I just drunk some of my 7-Up. That's what I wanted before I get that burp out. Jameis Winston when he was at Tampa. J. Boot, one of my all-time favorite Knowles. No cards collections complete without Dan Marino. Like I said, they just had different cards, and I went in there, went through and grabbed some. Warren Moon, undrafted, one of the first players to be undrafted in the Hall of Fame, quarterback, living legend. Ooh, another HBCU legend. Steve McNair's rookie card. Warren Sapp's rookie card. Now we get into the meat of things. Derek Brooks rookie card. Derek Brooks rookie card. Derek Brooks rookie card. Ricky Williams rookie card. Dalvin Cook's rookie card. Dalvin Cook's rookie card. And last but not least, when I saw these, I had to have it. And I'm not burning it. Prime Time's rookie card. Now I'm going to have to drive 3 hours to Jackson to get him to sign this, but this is his rookie card. I just did that because people were burning stuff. I ain't burning nothing. That's my guy. Still one of my favorite players. He just happens to coach at a school, and he's going to keep his job. And keep your job, you have to get good players. So Deion's rookie card. Deion. And they had like 20 for 5, 10 for 2, 5 a piece, different prices, and I just racked up on some. So there's another Deion. And lastly, another Prime. So just wanted to mess with some people that are mad about that. Now, I Am Athlete, even the new podcast that I like, because I really like Channing and Fred Taylor more than I think Brandon Marshall and Ocho Cinco. And obviously, Channing Crowder apologized. But a lot of people tend to miss the point about leveling the playing field. What does that mean? So in this video today, I'm going to break down not only the impact of what Deion is doing, but what is leveling the playing field. What does that truly mean, and what does that entail? So, without further ado, excuse me, a little bit of sore throat. No corona, no COVID. I feel good, feel great. When this weather change, it affects my sinuses, and I work in a dusty environment. Excuse me, that's what I want. So, let's get into this. First of all, anytime my phone now brings up things that are happening at HBCUs, when I go on YouTube, brings up HBCUs, that's a good thing. So let's start off with how we got here. Jackson State was struggling, which most programs in Division I AA are struggling. And you fire a coach. So you're sitting around in a meeting with boosters, ADs, presidents, board of trustees, and people are wondering, what can we do to put seats, to get people in the seats? What can we do for our seating, to fill up our stadium? Who can we get? And so the name probably was mentioned, I don't know, wasn't there. Deion, primetime. And somebody probably said, no, how do we even know he wants to come here? He can't coach, or he has no experience. So they probably shot out some other names. Somebody said, hey, what about, really think about Deion? I mean, we're rebuilding, so it's not like we're going to be good tomorrow, but we're going to be able to get seated. Now, when I say filling up a stadium, obviously at the top of FCS and at the top of the SWAC was Jackson State in attendance. So I want to break this down for you, and I want you to understand this. Attendance, concession, parking, merchandising, boosters, and donors is how programs and athletic departments thrive and survive. So if you're a football team, and you should have learned this in high school, just by going to high school and understanding how things break down, if you're not getting people paying for parking, they're not buying $4 or $5, $6 waters, they're not buying $7, $8 turkey legs, $3 popcorn, then you're losing money. You have to get people in the stands, basketball, whether it be wrestling, baseball. You have to get people to these games to spend money so your program can make money. So when you're not making no money, you're thinking, hey, what can we do? Who can we hire? Hey, let's bring Dion. Dion takes the job. Instantly, he starts to bring buzz around the program, start generating. They're winning. They only had one loss in the regular season to a Division I school that they should have beat. Now, you couple that with him. A lot of people don't know this because some younger generations may not know this, but Dion in high school is probably, if not the number one greatest player to come out of Florida high school. Excuse me. He is not going to be anywhere out of the top 5. He played baseball, ran track, played football and basketball. He went on to Florida State. He ran track, played baseball, and he was drafted by the New York Yankees. Played football, where he went on to become a 2-time consensus All-American and a Thorpe winner, the program's first ever Jim Thorpe winner. Now, if you don't know anything about Florida State, if you win a major award or you are a 2-time consensus All-American, they used to seal your locker with your actual last game uniform. Cleats, gloves, helmet and all. It would be encased and sealed in the locker room. I don't know what they did with those. They may auction them off, but now when the locker room was upgraded, which now they are going to upgrade the locker room again, they went to a statue. You have a statue inside the locker room and your number is lit. It's lit forever. So Dion was that guy. He got drafted in the first round to the Atlanta Falcons, played there, went to San Francisco, won a Super Bowl. Jerry Jones needed to get him away from San Francisco so they can get back to the Super Bowl. Went to Dallas, won a Super Bowl. He went to Washington, retired, worked for CBS, came back, and then he played for the Ravens, then he retired. Now, he's a college football Hall of Famer. He's an NFL Hall of Famer. He's on the All-Decade team. Not to mention he's one of the 100 greatest players to play in the NFL. And he's on the All-NFL team. And he's on the ESPN Top Athletes of All Time. So it's no brainer that why would Travis Hunter choose DBU? I don't mean to offend Alabama fans, LSU fans, Miami fans, or whoever thinks they got that title. Florida State will always be DBU. And why would I go there when I can go actually play for the man himself? So that's a no-brainer. Now, people tend to say, well, was this a one-hit wonder? Obviously, we know that. We know that's not true because another guy committed after the All-America game today, committed to Jackson State. Will there be more? Yes. The question some people ask is, will that hurt for Power 5? Will that hurt Division I? No, it will not. If you know anything about football, we're in a good time right now. The playoffs kind of got boring. I mean, you did have some teams make it, but normally it was Alabama, Oklahoma, Clemson, Ohio State. Notre Dame's been there twice. My team only been there once. Oregon's been there once. The Pac-10 really hasn't put a lot of teams in there. Some kind of Big 12, the Big 10 kind of miss it. So it kind of got stale. So with Cincinnati making it, it gives all these other schools hope, just like what Deion Sanders is doing with recruiting and how he's building this program. Now we see the pressure coming. Two things to note. Deion Sanders is elevating the HBCUs. He's also elevating schools to now where they're looking at who can they hire to duplicate his success. So in turn, that's going to put pressure on these guys because a lot of now at HBCUs where you may have got 7 wins, 8 wins, and it was okay. Now schools see, hey man, Deion's getting corporate sponsors. He's doing commercials. He's got people bagging the program. They're talking about renovating, building. So we need to get a coach. And I'm sorry, 7 wins just ain't gonna cut it. We already see the same thing with Tennessee State. They were struggling. Went out, got Eddie George. hey, this guy's going to build. He's going to get people to come to the games, and he's turning it around. Now, they're struggling with a little bit of attendance problem, but they play in the Adelphia Coliseum, Nissan Stadium. I mean, really, if you're not playing a major team, it's the same problem Florida State has. You're not, people just ain't interested to come watch you play everybody. Sometimes you're going to have to play some teams, but he's building. Hugh Jackson, Grambling, and even being a name doesn't always work because Alcorn State has Steve McNair's brother, and I really haven't seen them ascend, arise. So you're starting to see that. Now, one thing people may not pay attention to in the NFL, we're starting to see more and more coordinators, defense, offensive coordinators of color. College football, everywhere you turn around, there's a coordinator, African American, starting to ascend. You look at what happened with Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, head coach. Notre Dame, one of the most historic programs in college football. So we already see the start process of what we call leveling the playing field, what we call the change people want. And the more success Deion has, I guarantee you there's somebody sitting in the room believing, hey man, you keep having success, it's going to allow me to get the job that I dream about, that I covet, and that I think about. With the old whistle right there. So you see that success. You look at the coach. Look at the coach that got the Virginia job, worked at Clemson. So it's kind of funny how Mike Tomlin shot his mouth off and said there's no booster that can write him a check, a blank check. But now Mel Tucker is the highest paid African American coach in sports. One thing to note about Mel Tucker, James Franklin, even why Miami made the move they made, USC made the move they made, because teams and organizations, these are businesses, they're organizations. They see what's on the horizon, how the playoff is going. If your team is not being talked about, you're getting left behind. So Jackson State's being talked about. Everybody else that's Division I AA, and even in the SWAC and MEAC is kind of not getting the same publicity, so they're getting left behind. Jackson State's been featured on ESPN. They're everywhere, like I say. So when you go out and you're Miami and you give a coach, $8 million a year, $80 million over 10 years, is because you're trying not to get left behind. So Manny Diaz had a winning record. Got to get rid of him. USC went to Oklahoma. They took Lincoln Riley. He flips a commit from Alabama. Matter of fact, he flipped Bryce Young's teammate who played with Bryce Young in California. And he sees the success he has, winning the Heisman Trophy. And he flipped him back to USC. So think about that. Then you have Brian Kelly, who's been at Notre Dame, took Notre Dame to the BCS National Championship, took them to 2 playoffs, done everything he can do. He leaves because either you adjust or you get left behind. And the pressure's on. When these schools sit around, they start to see prime time had his success. He's getting top recruits. You're going to make adjustments or you're going to get left behind. Think about that. Now, what hurts the SWAC, and I'm going to get into this because a lot of people don't understand what leveling the playing field is. Leveling the playing field is not so much the players coming in, because everybody is starting to see this ain't a one-time deal. This is going to happen more and more. And I think some of these guys probably wanted to go to HBCU, but they were waiting on somebody to do it first so they wouldn't be ridiculed or have their name talked about. Now I want y'all to understand this. There are more kids than there are scholarships. So this is why I say it's not really going to hurt anything in the long run, because if, let's just take for instance the top 100 players in Florida. If Florida State get 25, Miami get 25, Florida get 25, and FAMU get 25, you still have the top 200 to top 300. You still have the rest of the pool. So it's still more players than scholarships. Think about that. Understand what I'm telling you. If Jackson State, FAMU start pulling 4 and 5-star recruits, what will happen is, I'll give you an example. Let's say you got a running back coming out of JO, and let's say he's about 5'10", 5'11", 180, maybe 185 pounds. He runs a 4.3. Jackson Olin, Birmingham, Alabama, high school. And let's say he's got Troy, he's got West Alabama, and he's got Louisiana Tech. Those his top choices. 10 days before signing day, Nick Saban calls him and say, hey man, I think you got some good film. I think you can come into our program. We can put another 10 pounds of muscle on you. We can help you get a tenth off your speed. And we think in a couple of years you can be a starting running back and probably go to the NFL. Where do you think that kid going? So it's going to hurt the small schools that are not HBCUs more than it hurt the big schools, because there's more children, more young men than there are scholarships. So coaches will change the way they recruit. I mean, Nick Saban uses a modified Tom Landry player personnel and player development and scouting system, but I still don't understand why today people haven't hired Butch Davis. I mean, that guy did a tremendous job. But however you get players, whether it's the Bear Bryant way, whether it's the Bobby Bowden way, the Deion Sanders way, the Eddie Robinson way, got to get them. Now, I want to say this, and I want y'all to understand that I'm a Florida State fan. That's who I like. But lately in the news, you see people, they kind of say that African Americans didn't go to where they wanted to go until 1970, September 12th, when USC came to Birmingham and beat Bear Bryant. And Bear Bryant was quoted as saying that he wanted to recruit African American players, but he had to do it in a way and show the powers to be, the establishment, the Jim Crow South, that either we're going to adjust or we're going to get left behind. Now, a lot of people talk about that game, and that's supposed to be when the floodgates got open. That's just not true, because that game happened in 1970. Ernie Davis won the Heisman Trophy in the early 70s at Syracuse. You know, O.J. Simpson won the Heisman Trophy either in 67 or 68. Bubba Smith, his brother was on that USC team. Bubba Smith's from Texas. If you don't know who Bubba Smith is, he's Hightower on Police Academy. Now, he could have went anywhere in the South that's HBCU, but he chose to go to Michigan State. So I kind of think that a lot of times when people talk about these things, they're trying to paint a story one way, when we need to be, again, like Travis Hunter. He was allowed to choose where he wanted to go and not be forced to go, not have a gun to his head, nobody threatened him, threatened his family, and he chose to go to Jackson State. The same way somebody may choose to go to Alabama, they may choose to go to UAB. But a lot of times how people talk, I think they kind of disrespect the players that are already at HBCUs who are already good enough. Like, allow these kids to make their choice. You know, sometimes parents want to get on TV and, Landon Collins' mom, who, not trying to tell her what to do because that's her child, but just, if you're going to do that, at least wait till after the cameras cut off, you know. Everybody had a choice. Let folks make their choice. You know, if you want to scream Jackson State, you want to scream Grambling, scream it. You want to scream Roll Tide, scream to the top of your lungs. Let's just enjoy it. We live in America. You shouldn't be demonized because you like a team in the ACC. You shouldn't be demonized because you like Howard or Hampton. I think sometimes, especially for African Americans, we always like to jump on the bandwagon when it's comfortable for us. You know, but you have to think about a man like Deion Sanders, how much hate and disrespect he had to deal with, and he's still dealing with, because of recruiting. But that's not even the problem. If you pay attention to what he says in his press conferences, if you listen to him, it was coaches and organizations and events that were black owned and black operated for African American players at HBCU levels that didn't even call him about draft eligible players. And he's fighting to get guys to the combine. He's fighting to get guys drafted. You know, they lost in the spring, I think, to Alabama A&M, Alabama State, one of them schools, and they posted his picture on the scoreboard. Like, he don't even have to do this. But he loves coaching, and he has a cause, and he's rallying and trying, but it's hate, disrespect. So leveling the playing field, a part of that is everybody coming together. You know, Deion Sanders makes $300,000 a year coaching. He gets bonuses for ticket sales, season tickets, and game tickets. He gets a bonus when they sell out or they, fulfill their obligation to season tickets. So he making $300,000. That's actually pretty good for Division I AA. Me being a coal miner, I made more than most coaches in Division II and Division I AA. Think about it. Listen to what I said. Being a coal miner, a UMWA coal miner, I made more than most coaches. So we need to help him, because what we'll do, we'll get mad. Oh, well, the big schools pay their coach this much money. Our players don't need to go. People post these videos, but you have to understand something. The school and the state don't regulate these things. These things are done. Most schools are only going to pay you up to $200,000-$300,000. When you start talking about $1 million and $2-3 million, or you ever get to the $5 million plateau, then you doing something. That means boosters, alumni are paying you. I'll give you an example. Deion Sanders makes $300,000 a year to coach Jackson State. Willie Taggart was Florida State's head coach. His retention bonus, which was in his contract, was $875,000 for every year that he was retained. He was only retained 1 year because he didn't even make the second. He's fired. So he made $875,000 just for coming back as a coach, not to mention the other bonuses that he never reached, because most coaches going to have bonus for reaching championships and reaching a certain win plateau. Now he makes $800,000 a year, which is still far more, almost $500,000 or $600,000 more than Deion Sanders. So just think about that. Division I AA, Division I. SWAC schools, to truly level the playing field, need to get out of Division I AA. One of the biggest problems I have with it is kind of the hypocritical way that the NCAA done HBCUs. But in actuality, the SWAC and MEAC forfeited their automatic bid for the playoffs because they chose to focus on the classics, and they chose to focus on trying to make the Celebration Bowl what it was. So they forfeited the automatic bid, when in turn they gave up a chance to win a national championship. Now FAMU made the playoffs this year. They lost to SC Louisville, I think. So they lost in the first or second round. But to level the playing field, these schools need to be put in Division I. Now with conference realignment, the AAC, the Big 12, the Mountain West Conference will really benefit, and the style of play of the SWAC I don't think would translate well in the SEC, because it would take them a couple of years longer to build up a team to withstand the SEC and even the middle part of the ACC. But I think a Jackson State, a Grambling, a FAMU could be ready in 2 years to compete for a championship inside of the Big 12 and AAC. Obviously with Cincinnati making a playoff, they're moving to the Big 12. UCF is moving to the Big 12 in Houston. So it's open slots, and with the expanding of the playoffs, get these schools out of this conference and out of Division I AA and put them on a plateau where they can get revenue from a conference. Now, one thing I want to state as far as leveling the playing field in this argument, guys, is we have yet to own a 24-hour African American sports network. It's ridiculous. It is. And I ain't talking about a social media platform a YouTube network. I'm talking about a real network that is paying revenue to these schools to broadcast them. It's ridiculous. 2022, we don't even own a network. We don't own a stadium. Outside of Michael Jordan, we got no owners. This is what leveling the playing field. Level the playing field is when you have the SWAC championship in a black-owned and black-operated sports venue. Now, the Celebration Bowl was a sellout, but it really wasn't. And I actually found this out, that they put the numbers for as far as the seating for that game compared to the Atlanta soccer team, their professional soccer team. I easily think they could have got at least 60,000 in there. But we gave away some standing room only tickets. Like, man, come on, man. Who would do that? I mean, is this here? Like, come on, man. When is the day African Americans gonna be able to say, you know what, I'm gonna go over here and apply for this job because I can make 6 or 7 figures? Like, how, outside of Michael Jordan's company, where he has a lot of executives, how many jobs you know where you can go in that are African American owned and make over 6 figures? That's leveling the playing field. We don't have a network. We don't own stadiums, man. Leveling the playing field is when Deion Sanders and some of these HBCU coaches walk into a room and they say, we need this and we need this, and it's, hey, check cut tomorrow, $200, $150 million, anything you need for facilities, anything you need for as far as amenities. A lot of people don't even know Jackson State's recruiting budget is $15,000. And Deion Sanders the last 2 years been recruiting his tail off on $15,000. One of the things I will say, when Jimbo Fisher left Florida State, a lot of people got mad. I looked at them people like they were stone cold fools. And I'm going to say this, and this is not really a Florida State video, but if you work at Walmart and you're having success, you're winning, you win an employee of the month, and you got the company going in the right way, but you look at all these other managers, they getting big raises, getting big bonuses, they getting cars, they going to the new Walmarts. And Costco call you, and Costco say, we'll give you $75 million guaranteed over 10 years. And you think you're the best. You're working like the best. You done brought Walmart a championship, but you ain't being really rewarded. You getting raises, but you're not being made to feel like you're the best. They just doing just enough to keep you. It's a capitalist society. I thought the idea was to get the bag. You go to college to get the bag. You play football or basketball to get an opportunity to get the bag, so when you retire and get in your second act, you set yourself up. You work to get a bag. These coaches coach to get a bag. So just think about that. That's where the game is won. It's not on the state of Mississippi to take care of Deion Sanders. The alumni and boosters sit down and say, hey, Deion, we're going to give you, $80 million over 10 years. But you're mad because Alabama getting Nick Saban all that money. Alabama don't get Nick Saban shit. The boosters and alumni do. People get together and say, Coach, when you ain't go nowhere, we gonna give you a raise. They pay the man bills. He don't even pay bills. That's what leveling the playing field is. Leveling the playing field is when we have access to all the resources and create resources for our kids. It's not just enough to, like I say, to have recruits. It's not just enough to have a good football team to generate buzz. We got to show it in facilities now. We got to show it in stadiums. Kids coming to Jackson State, and people constantly can't believe it because the resources are Power 5. So resources ain't everything. Oregon got 1 million jerseys, but they ain't got no national championship. Miami ain't won a national championship since they switched from Nike and switched from the Denver Bronco uniforms. Then they got them ugly uniforms, and they ain't been the same since. Think about that. USC got all this history, all this money. They tied in with Warner Brothers, tied in with media, all this control, the Coliseum. and they suck. Florida State got an 80,000 seat stadium, indoor practice facility. We ain't made a bowl game in 2 years. Spend $1,200,000 a year recruiting. Raise recruiting up. Now the assistant coach is using jets. They ain't going driving cross country. They ain't, catching coach and flying here, waiting here. They flying, seeing the recruit, coming back, getting in the bed, coming back, going to practice. And yet we ain't even making a bowl game. So obviously these resources ain't working. So it's more than resources. It's about developing. It's about believing. Think about that. Oregon got 1 million uniforms and ain't won diddly squat. Now, yeah, they won some conference championship, which you have to do that. You have to play in a conference championship, bare minimum, every so many years. That's why I was happy that Wake Forest made it. I don't care for Wake Forest, but they had to do that because you financially have to do that. Teams have to make championships. That's why coaches will get fired if they have winning records, but they can't even get their team close to a championship because you need that conference championship money. If you go to a school and your football team is terrible, normally you're not going to get, if you're a men's basketball coach, a women's basketball coach, any male or female sport, it hurts your recruiting budget, it hurts your facilities, and it hurts how you operate. Now you imagine being a basketball coach, male or female, at Alabama. You got more access to jets, you got access to a lot of things because you're selling out. You're a successful program. So anybody understand that finances play a big role. But think about that. People talk about, well, these guys they missing out on all these resources. Eventually the USFL coming back. So even if these guys don't go to the NFL, they can go to the USFL. XFL coming back. I would like to see a day when the USFL, the NFL, XFL, and CFL combine, and we have franchises all over the world playing for a true world championship. But I just want y'all to hear that. Well, these kids, they gonna miss out on all these facilities, yeah. But the teams that got facilities ain't winning diddly squat. Jimbo Fisher went to Texas A&M. Texas A&M ain't been nothing since they had Bear Bryant. They was all right with Franchione just for a minute, and now he building them up. But they ain't got no national championship. They ain't no Texas, but they got the biggest stadium in the SEC. Tennessee, one of the biggest stadiums in the world. Michigan, the Big House, the biggest stadium in college football. Biggest stadium in college of pro football. And they got blew out by Georgia. Clemson got the new football-only facility. They ain't even make the playoff this year. They didn't make AC championship. So sometimes these facilities and all these amenities and these special rooms to heal, it don't get it done if it ain't him. It don't get it done if you don't get the right player. You could have 25 stars and be sitting at the house like me watching the national championship. So let these kids go where they want to go, man. Raising the bar, leveling the playing field. It's about this right here, going down to Jackson State and contributing. Now, obviously, I'm on strike. When I come on strike, instead of making a donation, I'm going to be a booster this time in Florida State. And I am going to make a donation to Jackson State Athletic Department. Now, you guys, I ain't going to take up much more of your time, but I just want to touch bases with y'all. And you need to understand that as long as the SWAC and the MEAC are in Division I AA, they're hurt by the restrictions. They're only allowed 65 scholarships, whereas Division I is 85. But there's a lot of teams in Division I barely making it struggle. I do want to say this, that if it wasn't for Deion being at Jackson State, would Jackson State even be relevant right now? So some of these schools are hiring the right coach. We know Jimbo can go on the recruiting trail. Nick, we know he can go on the recruiting trail with a pitch. We know Dion gonna go with a pitch. I think Hugh Jackson gonna be successful because he can walk in the house, look at parents, say, I've been a head coach, I've been an offensive coordinator, position coach. I know what it takes to develop men for the NFL. Eddie George, Heisman Trophy winner, a genuine good guy. Some of these schools don't have that. So, is it just Dio? Obviously, I think it's more so him, but some of these schools are setting themselves up for success. But as long as you're in Division I AA, when Alabama and Miami played early last year, first game of the season in Atlanta, both schools made $5 million a year towards the athletic. Chick-fil-A, whoever gave them the money, gave the athletic programs $5 million apiece, and they donated $50,000 to the General Scholarship Fund. When Florida State and Alabama played in the Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic, they got $6 million apiece for the athletic program. That's what leveling the playing field is. Leveling the playing field is the TV contracts, the revenue from bowl games, the revenue from these big ball games, helping your program. So until we can own a stadium, until we can own a network, the only way for these schools to make it is to get out of 1AA, get in a conference. And I truly believe Jackson State could win a conference in 3 years. I think if they went to the Big 12 in 3 years with 85 scholarships, recruiting and building, obviously he's doing that at Jackson State on a $15,000 budget. Could you imagine what he can do with $100,000? What he can do with $1 million and access to a jet, access to helicopters, where he can fly in on these recruits. Dion, most of his recruiting is over the phone because he only got $15,000. He just can't go up and say, well, I'm going to take a trip out to California unless he going to fly real cheap. And you got to understand something. When you talk about recruiting budget, that's everything. That's the meals they eat, the meals they offer the kids, they offer themselves, that's the trip, the logistics, the gas, that's everything. $15,000. And he got 2 blue chip players. Come on. Think about that, man. Could you imagine him being at a conference where they get big revenue and have a big conference championship game? Could you imagine what Hugh Jackson could do with Grambling if his school was getting those type of revenue sharing deals? So until we own something, they're going to have to get out of it. Or they're going to have to start going to the playoffs and winning. And I ain't saying give up the classic, but focus on getting that to the playoffs and getting on TV more. Now they do get on TV, but the more they're on TV, the more money they're going to make. When they get to the playoffs, they're going to make money. Now obviously they make more money. One of the NCAA used to hit them with is, well, y'all got these classics and one classic make more in the entire playoff. Well, you have to raise the bar. Y'all want to level the playing field, you have to raise the bar. Just don't say it. I don't care about swag. But Dion may be interested. People may say, oh, well, you ain't black, son, I'm black, and y'all done fought more battles than you know about. I done stood not just on strike line, I done fought some battles that you will never know. But that's another day. But I want y'all to think about that. What is leveling the playing field? It's finances, it's resources, it's us, people that live these programs, that love these SWAC schools, love these HBCUs. Time to start just loving them, but giving money. Because when Nick Saban walk in the room, he ain't got no problem. If he say we need to do this, they cutting the check. We gonna have to do this. Oh, Dion, you need this? You need this? Hey, how much it's gonna cost to build this? How much it's gonna cost to do this? Did anybody see how Alabama flew to Indianapolis? How to play? They had their own little seat, their own little section. They flew on a plane like they were flying to China, Japan, just to go to Indianapolis. That's what you call leveling the playing field. know what I'm saying? That's what you call leveling the playing field. It's stuff like that. So we got to get that together. We got to come on with it. We ain't got time. We got to get that together. Do y'all hear me? Just don't say it. Don't get on I Am Athlete, the pivot and all this and talk and not understand what it means. Leveling the playing field is the access to the opportunity. Leveling the playing field is not having to get on TV and complain about not getting guys to the combine. And he was right. They really don't need the HBCU combine. You only going to invite, 30, 40 more players? Invite them. Even if they don't get drafted, that shouldn't be hard. You shouldn't have to wait for a pro day. That's what leveling the playing field is. Leveling the playing field is the day when like I said, when Deion Sanders walk into a room and they say, Coach, here's $10 million. What you need? That's leveling the playing field. Before I end this video, some people think, well, Deion, he gonna leave, he gonna stay. I think he'll stay till his baby girl graduate. I think he will stay and he will build Jackson State up into a superpower. They will run roughshod over the FCS, Division I AA. Now, again, I told you the man makes $300,000. I'm pretty sure if he took an elite job at this stage right now, he would command over $5 million. Got to get the bag. But I don't think he's interested in leaving now. And again, he never actually has said he would leave. He just said right now he's happy at Jackson State, maximizing the moment. I don't think people listen to what he say. He said you got to be about winning, and it's got to be just more than football. It's got to be a lot of things for him. What you're going to do, what your plan is for these kids, how much you love them, how much you care for them. So I don't think people pay attention. I will say this. I did a video on Chris Ricks and Xavier Lee, Drew Weatherford, Adrian McPherson. Ricks loved it. So I don't even know if Deion, who am I? Just Trio Valley, Andrew Brady. So, but that's what leveling the playing field is, guys. Leveling the playing field is to access the money, access the resources without arguing. And it's not just about getting a Caucasian man, a Caucasian woman to give you money. It's about being able for us to do it on our own. It's about being able to go into an African American room or building and people say, here's a couple million, here's a couple thousand. Crazy little movement, but all these things work together. So I just want y'all to share it with y'all. Y'all have a good, great day. If you like the video, or even if you don't like it, comment. If you like it, subscribe to the channel. We will be doing a PlayStation 5 giveaway in a little bit, and you have to be a subscriber to do that. I'm on all social media. I do have a Snapchat and I have a TikTok, but I don't use them apps. I just keep up with my son. So I'm not going to be found there, but I am on Twitter, on Facebook, and Instagram. So y'all have a blessed night, a blessed day tomorrow, and don't be the problem, be the solution. I respect your opinion and respect everybody. Respect the child's choice, whether he want to go to Harvard, Yale, he want to go to Miles, Houston, UCLA, Oxford, Mississippi State, Mississippi Valley State, Mississippi Delta. Respect these kids' choices. Allow them to enjoy themselves. It's their experience, not yours, not mine, not anybody's choice except them. They the ones got to live with it and let them enjoy it. And y'all have a good, safe, and wonderful time. Blessed and highly favored. And I'll see you guys next time with some better content and some more videos and more fun. Good evening. Bye-bye. I'll just mess with y'all.